Okay, I just talked about on a live, and if y'all are interested, you'll be able to see it coming up, uploading on my YouTube channel if you want to revisit the live that I just did. Okay, I just did a live and I was talking about transmutation spells. Okay, I was just talking about how there's going to be no transmutation for these toxic energies. Okay, now what I want to talk about, I want to get a little bit more in depth. Give me 1 second here. Where's my cool effect at? All right, I want to get in a little bit more in depth about, I want to elaborate, okay? And I am going to invite you all to go check out the video. I uploaded it on my YouTube channel, okay? Boom, bam, boom. But I want to make it so plain. I want this to be like where any and everybody could understand the whole term transmutation, but how we've all do it, right? And the more official forms of it, especially those who are into the arts. I promise you, there are plenty of people in the status quo, the powers that be, that know about this stuff, and they've been doing this. Especially crappy motherfuckers that ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And they do stuff like this. So like, oh, anytime somebody, boo, 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 right? Transmutation spell. So they get to benefit off of essentially their name being made mention of, right? In a negative light. And if you all go to the YouTube upload, if you look in the description box, there's a statement I put in there. And this is going to apply to like the divine ones here. Okay, those of you who have co-created. I'm not talking about the ones that are just waiting, sitting back waiting for karma to play out on its own and just sitting hoping, wishing, praying, somewhere waiting. No, this is the divine ones who have evoked and called in higher order and co-created with their spiritual guidance team and ancestors to stop these individuals from trying to bypass karmic justice. Okay? Because that's what they've been doing. When they can no longer, get their way, when, it's not working the same way, when they're getting exposed, when the ship has sailed, right? When it's a day of reckoning, then they turn into the victim. They turn into the victim and they try to spin that. Okay. And in this, they then, in their disillusionment, they then go try to say shit like I said it on my other video. The devil is a liar. And, all these common phrases like woo, doo, da, 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 da. And then some of them are going to get rituals done or doing them themselves, right? And why is this necessary? I want to say, why is it necessary the higher order is called in and that we evoke it, that we seek it, that we beseech it? Again, because this is how order is brought in. It's evoked and you do your part to participate. This is a part of the alchemy, isn't it? It's a part of transmuting their transmutation. There it is. Yep. See, and this is justice. That's balance, baby. That is the major arcana energy, archetypal energy of justice. That's justice, baby. Because these people do, I don't care what they're lying about. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care what they're spinning. They do all sorts of baneful shit to people. The collective's children, the collective's lives, for eons, for years. And they benefit, they steal, they hurt lives, they do all of this stuff off of the blood and the back of other people's energy. Okay? And when it's time to pay the piper, when the justice scales are coming through to bring the balance, like, nigga, no nigga, no bitch. No, don't start rebuking devils now. Because you were the devil. So No, don't start talking about the devil's a liar. You can quote all the Psalms. Because that, again, in this disillusionment, that's what they're doing. Oh, Psalms. It's like, okay, that's okay, you really, because that's basically a book of spells, by the way. But the thing that I'm saying is, on a collective scale that this is going to apply to, is like, really? Okay, so then you finna just bypass the fact that you was a whole sorry. Like, okay, so you sitting here saying all this shit. My enemies shall be the thou thus under and all this, but you gonna bypass your enemy. They were your enemy, huh? They're your enemy. They're your enemy because why? They're your enemy because you did some fucked up shit to them. And they telling about it. So that's why they're your enemy. They're your enemy because they dare to tell the story. They dare to require justice. And so now it's getting the book of Psalms 144, nigga, and 91 and all of this. And now it's all and this and no, you will receive. These people that gotten away too long. I'm telling y'all why this is happening. Just watch. Wait for it. Because see, it's not about skill. See, the mistake that some of these folks have made out of this comfortability that they have been in, the mistake is believing that this is about skill. That this is about skill, that this is about connections. None of that. It's not going to matter. Higher order has been evoked at the command of the divine ones. Period. And it's in the name of justice. All these glamour spells, all of these illusions, all of these tricks, all this abusive power, all of this getting off on, again. And then when it's time to pay the piper, them trying to do damage control. And when the damage control don't work, them trying to do transmutation spell. I'm going to use this. I'm going to create me a purpose. Now niggas and no. It's not going to work here. Because see, it's this disillusioned state of trying to almost mimic and be like the divine ones, thinking that it's just about sitting and evaluating what they have done in their journey because, through some of the fuckery that they've caused them. And so they think that, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna do my purpose and my pain, bitch. No, your purpose is not your, no, nigga, no, I'm finna find my, I'm gonna take this and turn it into, turn what? The fact that you have tried to bypass karmic justice for yourself, the fact that you're trying to weasel your way out of being accountable. I don't think so. See, that's not balance. And what I'm learning about karmics, even though I know people don't like to hear the term, call it what you want, whatever rocks your boat, okay? Because it's really, at the end of the day, it's not about the label, okay? Toxic is as toxic does. We have karmic cycles, and as long as we live, those of us, even if you're divine, if you opt, okay, then there you go. You see that? So, again, these types, though, they have a tendency. They're runners. And all they've been doing is using, the manipulations and all this stuff for their whole existence. And then wants to cry like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Or sit up here and whine and sit up here and pretend and all that shit. when it's time to pay the piper, nigga. And when the cat's out of the bag. Even before that. Because when they realize that people are on to them and people are standing up for themselves, like the collective, okay, they attempt to use the element and the alchemic process of taking people standing up for truth and speaking out and calling that negativity. I'm going to say that again. Because see, that it's a vast difference. People need to stop that bullshit. And I'm gonna be on team make sure niggas and bitches, huh? That's what I'm on. They need to stop that bullshit. You know, trying to call it negativity. Oh, it's it's negativity. They're just hating. They try that shit. It's so weird. It's disillusioned. They're just hating. No, bitch. Look, let me tell you something. Nigga, look. Okay, I get this way because sometimes it's like, okay, the fluffy. It's not that I'm angry. I'm trying to cut through the bullshit. People's mental illness and their disillusion. Because that's the first thing, that's what everybody be screaming. They just hating, they just hating. The devil is a liar and shit. I'm victorious and I'm the blessed and not the cursed. And, all these sayings they get into, whether it's from a religious stance or a spiritual stance or whatever. Totally bypassing their behavior. That's what disillusionment is. People take offense to that, but if you sit down and detach emotions and sayings and programmings and all that stuff that we have away from things and just sit with that and go, okay, wait. From a practical and grounded space without like, oh, but I like them and oh, but they're, no. From a grounded and a practical space. Oh, they sit here, talking woo. Totally bypassing. It's a total, utter bypass. Y'all got to catch that. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay. So I tell my story. I have bits and pieces of my story throughout YouTube if you're interested, but it's going to take it's a lot of videos over there. So, okay, it's like over 2,000 videos. But in my life, just like anybody else, all right, I bleed red, ain't perfect, definitely went through karmic seasons, definitely am I unhealed, unevolved, all of that is a role, but not an excuse. In these seasons, like anybody else, my heart may not have been corrupt, but that doesn't change the fact that, I've definitely done some dumb, stupid, wrong. Huh? Oh, yes, baby. I done slept with married folk. Y'all, you want to know? You want to know? Do you want to know? That's my youngster. That's my young years, by the way. I wasn't an old bitch. Okay? So it was more of my young years, or younger, I should say. And listen, I'm trying to prove a point. I'm trying to make it plain. So let's say me in my history, in my past, when I'm talking about when I knew, like knowingly, like when I went into shit. I'm not talking about when I'm blindsided and people hiding truth and that. No, knowingly, when I knowingly went into something, knowing full well, okay, that person, I don't care how rocky their relationship is. I don't care what the reason or the excuse. The bottom of the line is, okay, I knew. Okay? So that's like if I were to say during that time that I decided to fuck around with somebody's husband, okay? And then, let's say either the shit comes out, or, yeah, let's say it comes out and then, people feeling some kind of way about it, which, depending on their connection to the folks, I mean, rightfully so, if and me trying to like say the devil is a liar in the statement, because totally bypassing it's true. But for whatever weird reason, I feel that people's feelings or their thoughts about me doing that and them verbalizing that and the fact that it's out, like me feeling some kind of way. I feel slighted that the truth is out and that people know what my true intentions and motives were. And, that I'm not being looked upon in a favorable light. But instead of me owning the fact that I'm not saying I'm supposed to like go jump off a bridge or nothing, but instead of me owning the fact, like, okay, well, what, bitch, what did you think? You knew that this was wrong. You justified it for your own selfish reason, whether it was you just needed to survive, you were bored, it doesn't really matter. But, you justified it. The devil is a liar because somebody is telling the truth. Because now my reputation, if that's what was important to me, which for someone like me, it never really was. But let's just say it was. So I'm feeling some kind of way, transmutation, God's going to take my mess and turn it to message, I'm okay, but are you going to bypass your accountability, responsibility here for real? And at the same time, are you going to attempt to cause harm? You want to attempt to try to, instead of owning it, now you want to trash talk. You want to go and trash talk this man's wife or this man or whatever, whatever happened. Now you want to trash talk them, nigga. Okay, now you got something to say. That's that woman's husband. I don't care if she is crazy, nutty in a fruitcake. That's that. And you knew. If I would have taken on that approach, I would be just as wrong. You understand that? But I did not take that approach. I don't know why. For whatever reason, even in my younger years and my foolery, I had some kind of understanding, even if I didn't get it, that, well, it was like, you kind of, I do not have the moral high ground position here. And so, I didn't get into trying to, glaze over it or trying to somehow, if I can direct some ugliness onto these wives, then that's somehow, I didn't do that. I'm telling y'all, I really didn't. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Obviously, I'm sitting here admitting my folly here. But see, that's in itself, that's maturity. That in itself, all by itself, is maturity. Because it's understanding you foul. You foul. What you did was wrong. It was selfish. And you're not about to weasel your way out of it. Somebody's going to say, well, Brandy, Bloomy, what about forgiveness? That ain't the question. That's not what this is about. It's about balance. I often find that people that are utilizing, especially cultic type people, utilize that in the name of bypassing, at the same time being very critical and judgmental of everyone else and wanting fire and brimstones and all sorts of tornadoes and chaos for other people. There's the hypocrisy. Because then it's like, all I got to do is repent and go for the Lord, in the religious shit. I just got to go run to the altar of the Lord and confess my sins. Okay. It's called bypassing. Lives were affected. Just like we take on the attitude with our children have to learn, and we're not going to be helping them if all the fuck we do is coddle them when they pass a certain developmental stage. If all we do, and I'm not talking about being abusive the way what some of us come from, because some of us came from tyrants, bitch. You can't even breathe without the nigger and bitch acting like Rasputin. What did I tell you about having fun? Right? That kind of energy they gave off. Oh, for crying out, God forbid you can relax, bitch. So that's not what I'm talking about. But when we don't teach our children and we don't exercise by exampleship and all of that, what we're doing is conditioning them, whether that's the intention or not. It don't have to be the intention. But if all we're doing is, once they're past developmental stages, we're still treating them like they're at the first developmental stage, making excuses for them, letting them wild the fuck out, we have basically inadvertently conditioned them to believe and to think that first and foremost that behavior is okay, because they don't have the consciousness and maturity there yet to kick in all the way to understand, like, what's wrong with you. But we're shaping it that you can be fucked up, you can do all sorts of shit and nothing will ever happen to you. Mommy and daddy will make it all better. You can go beat up children, tear up shit, steal shit. You can do whatever you want. And mommy and daddy is going to make sure nothing ever, you're still wonderful. Right? But, we're talking like they're 3, but the motherfucker is 15. I'm just giving this as an example. We're talking as if we're still talking like they're 3. Right? But they 15 now. And I ain't talking about special needs 15. They're regular 15. At least whatever that actually really is. I'm starting to question that too. But they're 15, right? And they're bullying, they're stomping around the campus and shit. They're doing all sorts of shit. It's a mommy and daddy. No. Ain't no transmutation. Ain't no let's go to, we're going to go get some ice cream or whatever. I'm going to turn into something good. And no, it's, you need to sit down. You need to understand that you're batting your eyes. You're, playing into the weaknesses of the parent. Your, flattery, your bribery, your trickery, you need to know your tantruming. You need to know that that's not going to do nothing for you. You need to sit down. And truly understand, and you need to sit there until the fuck you do. till you see what's wrong with you and your behavior. And not just that, until it's penetrating enough in the heart. Not just the fact that I'm going to get in trouble. You need to see what's wrong with you and what's wrong with that behavior. And until you do, unless we do that with our children, many of us know, if we're honest, because we all experience it, if those of us who got kids. Huh? Should give us hell, boy. I tell you what, whoo, child. Especially depend on what temperament they have, boy. I tell you, they give us hell. They're like, God damn it, motherfucker. Because they bank on us being tired and worn and all those things. And so, until we get the strength, right, and all that to make these changes, we're basically shaping monsters for the future. That's what we're doing, shaping entitled monsters for the future that really has been shapen to think that you can be a sorry nigga and bitch and then sing "We Are the Champions" and go to church and live happily ever after. Right? That's what we create. So whoever the collective of this stuff is for, okay, the higher order being evoked by divine ones. Because for whoever this groups is for, this has been too long. But they didn't just hurt the collective. These are people who have hurt many lives. And they continue to. They get off on it. They continue to. They're disillusioned, narcs, whatever you want to call them. And people that abuse their power, especially with this as it pertains to alchemy, this is what's going on. They abuse their power, their knowledge, their resources, especially elites, secret societies, covens that are not well, as Hecate would say. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's said until enough niggas and bitches. And anyway, they're not well witches. This is what happens. Power. I'm going to say it to the end of days. And then I'm going to say it again in the underworld. Shit. In which I rule. That's something else. That's another day. It's another fucking day for that. It's time. I've said it and I'm going to keep saying it. Knowledge, skill, and power in the hands of a disturbed being is tyranny. It's distortion. It's an abomination. It's blasphemy. And it creates and breeds instability and injustices. So again, this has nothing to do with knowledge and skill. This is knowledge and skill being exploited against innocent and vulnerable lives who have not even had the chance, due to the fuckery, to get their bearings. Once again, this is the approach of weak ones. That is the approach. Take advantage of people in vulnerable situations. kick people when they're down, take advantage and do fucked up shit when they're going through dark nights of the soul, when they're going through trauma, when they're going through severe injustices and loss. You know what I'm saying? That's a weak mind, but that is what weak beings do. We have to accept that, but that's why order has to be evoked. If they were decent, if people got to accept that if these people were as decent as they avatars are implying in this physicality, they wouldn't have been doing none of what they've been doing this whole time. I don't care if they were offered $10,000. That is the stuff that is going to come out about every last one of them. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because again, go buy my t-shirt. In the front, it says, don't be fucked up. In the back, it says, be decent. And decent is not extraordinary. See, people got to pay attention to the verbiage. It ain't even talking about being an exemplary or an extraordinary being. It's basically saying, be a basic, average, decent being. Don't pretend to be one. Be one and go get the help you need.